This is the place where real dialogue matters.
Make some noise for that sound, man.
It is time to take flight with Audio Airstrike.
What's up, everybody? This is Everett Hall-McNeill, and this is Audio Airstrike. Now, I got a special guest here joining us, actor, model, also. You got a lot of titles there, brother. You're helping a lot of different people, programs, Comic-Cons, stuff of that nature. All different types of stuff. We got Josh Kradz in the building.
It gets kind of confusing after a while, even for myself, honestly. But yeah, hi everybody. I'm Josh Kradz, actor, model, general Renaissance man. However, I've been dying to say that phrase for quite some time.
You just say general ladies man.
I'll take that. Yes, general Renaissance man. Yo, I'll take ladies man though.
Male gigolo. You can add that to the category as well.
All the way out there.
You still monitor Kradz. Ain't nothing changed. Man, I got to sit down and talk with you, brother, because I really don't understand what's going on in the Dominican Republic right now. It used to be a good resort spot. Now, after hearing all these number of deaths, I'm not pulling up. Honestly, I'm not pulling up. I don't feel safe. I don't feel safe drinking. I don't feel safe even going around the water. There's been so many crazy instances that it's been nuts.
Well, it's been, 9 total, I think, from what last time I've listened to.
9 people, and there's like a good, if I'm not mistaken, 2 to 3 of them that are from Maryland.
I know they're all Americans, that's for sure. Well, it's interesting because they're specifically they're people have died from cardiac arrest, right, and then something else, fluid in the lungs, but they're all quote unquote mysterious illnesses, right? And it's all from different things. Like one guy drank a scotch and then immediately felt horrible afterwards. Like right. the other kid was eating sushi, I think, and something else happened. So it's a slew of, I think one of them was just playing golf. There was a slew of unrelated stuff that's causing it, apparently.
And then also on the flip side to that, there's also been there was this viral video going out where people were this woman was literally mixing the drink with it was like Ciroc coconut flavor, which it was yellow, but truth be told, it's vodka. It should be clear.
Yeah, definitely.
And then as they mixed, they noticed this plastic substance of some sort mixed into the drink. It was like this soapy looking plastic type of stuff that was in the drink. And this was at a resort in Dominican Republic. So that may be the cause of some of the deaths that are actually going down.
Wait. Do they think it's a deliberate poisoning?
I think it may, I don't know, but they may be doing something and diluting something that could be possibly, I don't know exactly what it is. It's very mysterious. It's very, ridiculous. I don't understand. But I'm just going based on what we saw in the viral video. They were at Dominican Republic and they started mixing the drink. And the lady was like, look at what they're doing.
I have not seen the videos. I've only read the articles, but because I've seen the map of where people have passed away, and it's quite a wide variety of it too. So I don't know. There doesn't seem to be any correlation, although it might just be totally uncorrelated deaths, and some of them are caused by what you're talking about. Some of them might be a new strain of something. I don't know. Really
they need to figure it out quick, because I'm looking at the business side of this. Dominican Republic before this has been a okay place to go to, but it's going to scare people to death. And when you see people losing jobs and resorts losing money, it could be a serious issue.
Well, that's true. I mean, there is a large part of their economy is based on tourism, right, and travel. And of course it is. It's a gorgeous location, right? But of course Americans make up a large chunk of that. But one thing Americans do not like is not being safe, which,
right.
Can you blame them?
We're not pulling up if it's not safe.
Yeah, exactly.
We don't like the sense of danger. We care too much about our lives, even though if it's only our own.
That's why I watch TV. It's a nice, safe distance from the danger.
Right, absolutely.
While still enjoying it.
National Geographic, riveting television, will not go there live in person. It's too dangerous.
Mm-hmm. You got it.
Keep all that.
I like my couch.
Right.
I also like National Geographic.
When it's on the screen, not when you're in the middle of it. I don't want to be in Australia worrying about big, giant tarantulas coming after me. Sorry, I'm not pulling up for that.
Well, apparently they're very high in protein. Fun fact.
I don't care. I do not want to see. They will be burned at the stake. I'm not playing.
Well, you had to cook them somehow, so yeah, I get it. A regular Bear Grylls we have.
I'm not pulling up for that. I'm not. I'm not really. But yeah, man. All jokes aside, this is a shout outs to the people that are the family members, the victims, and everything of that nature, and the families that have to deal with that. You should be able to go on vacation and enjoy yourself and not have to worry about those kinds of issues. You shouldn't.
Yeah, that's fair. I mean, I haven't really looked into how the families are handling it. I know there are several articles on it because most people, there is no answers for them, unfortunately. I think a lot of them are having trouble just getting the bodies autopsied, from what I remember.
Yeah, because we want to know what's going on. Because I'm telling you right now, a lot of resorts are going to get the lawsuit.
Mm-hmm. Oh, absolutely.
Especially if you were doing something to the drinks that is making these people pass away.
I mean, we can't really. I would be hesitant to start pointing fingers. I mean, you're right. The correlation, the common denominator right now are Americans, resorts, and I believe, like I said, heart attacks and fluid in the lungs. So, but everything else has been non-related.
Well, at least make an investigation. At least.
Oh, I'm sure they are. Like I said, this is if they don't, they're shooting themselves in the foot.
Yeah.
Like I don't know what else to tell you at that point. It's on you at that point.
Yeah, at that point, you just have to put your actions into practice and just try to get an investigation off and see exactly what the cause of your loved one's death was. Because this is very, very. This is like it's one. When the first couple passed, it was a freak accident. I can understand that, but now it's like 9 different people.
Yep.
I mean, it's looking. I mean, I'm not trying to. I'm not a lawyer. I'm not an investigate. I'm not a criminal justice. Authoritative figure. But this is starting to look like it's premeditated.
Well, I mean, it is over the course of a year. But these deaths, like I said, these. Well, I think it might be shorter than a year, honestly. But these deaths do have. There's something there. There's correlations. It's just figuring out what it is.
Yeah, I agree. I want to switch gears here and get into some pop culture stuff. So the character of Batman is getting his own star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame. These are my thoughts, right? This is a waste of time, and I'm going to tell you why. I think somebody on the Hollywood Star Walk of Fame or whatever, I think somebody who is being honored, it shouldn't be a fictional character. It should be somebody that has put the time in, an actor, an actress, a TV star, even somebody behind the scenes, a director, or anything like that, a well-known producer. Yeah. It shouldn't be a fictional character. Well, I mean, because if we're doing that, then Darth Vader needs a star, Superman needs a star, Goku needs a star, Spider-Man needs, Iron Man needs a star. The Avengers can have you could literally put a walkway somewhere near a Avengers theme park and just put all the stars right there.
An Avengers walkway is a great idea.
I think if I'm not mistaken, wasn't too long ago, I think the original actors of the Avengers, the original 5, they got their own star.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, there was not too long ago. I remember that.
Yep.
But I mean, if you're gonna do that, then you have to give every big pop culture character a star.
Well, that's the point, right? The star is supposed to honor an individual's achievements,
right?
Right, and they have worked hard to get where they are. Even if you would like to honor, the character of Thor, who's the one who portrays Thor, right? Chris Hemsworth. That guy worked his way to get there. He deserves to be mentioned. The difference between Batman, we all love Batman. I love Batman. Like, we all love Batman. He's Batman. He stands alone. The same difference is, if we're going to honor Batman, we should be honoring his creators, not the character. I mean, the character. Let's be honest. Batman's a terrible hero. All these villains keep getting out and killing people. He's not helping at all.
That's a hot take. You're gonna have a lot of Batman fans pissed.
Hey man, I'm just saying. I don't know. Get it together.
I mean, it makes sense. You do have a valid point. If he's good as a hero as everybody says he is, why do these criminals keep on getting out?
Yeah, and you can't put it on Arkham Asylum or Blackgate Prison. It's Batman's the one not pulling the trigger.
Watching Batman sometimes is like watching an adult dark version of Tom and Jerry. That's literally what it feels. Sometimes it feels like you're watching.
Mouse, yeah, the role of cat and mouse seems to switch quite frequently too.
Absolutely, dude. This is where I'm okay. I understand it and I understand that we have to how powerful the Batman character is. Me personally, I don't think a fictional character is the way to go to honor somebody.
No, it's you're right.
Honor it at a Comic-Con, that makes sense. But don't give it a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame over big name actors that haven't even got a star yet. You know what I'm saying?
Well, I think what they were trying to go from a devil's advocate perspective. I think what they were trying to do was honor all the people who were involved in the creation or the maintenance of this pop culture icon. Now, which is I get it. Yeah, I get it. But at the same time, Batman doesn't embody the people. The people embody Batman. If you take the people away, Batman doesn't exist anymore.
Right.
Like, it's one is the catalyst and one is not. Like, one is doing all the work and the other one is just the mantle.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, we have sat back and when you look back at the history of Batman, if anybody should have their Hollywood star, it should be Bob Kane and Bill Finger. It should be those two guys that helped create this icon, this fictional character icon that Batman has become. So if you're going to give somebody a star, give it to them, give it to Michael Keaton, give that to Val Kilmer, give that to George Clooney. Well, maybe not George Clooney. I mean, well, George Clooney will get stuff on his own, right? But, I'm just going through Adam West. I'm pretty sure by now Adam West has his own star. If he doesn't, correct me if I'm wrong. It's one of those situations like give it to the guys that helped build the legacy. Like that's what they were known for. Adam West's biggest role was playing Batman in the 1960s. That was his biggest role. So I mean, it makes sense to honor the people that helped build the icon, not the other way around.
No, absolutely. And I mean, I 100% agree. I think we've established that. I mean, like I said, the closest thing I can see to a devil's advocate still doesn't quite justify it in my mind. That's a space that you're wasting that could be going to honor somebody who, like I said, who's worked, at the risk of repeating myself, who has worked to get to that point, right? So it just seems kind of cheap.
Yeah, I do agree. I definitely agree. I want to switch gears again more so to music. Lil Nas X dropped this EP called 7.
Maybe you've heard of it.
Yeah, at this point, I think everybody's kind of. This is like a 7-track song. It's like a 7-track EP. Excuse me.
Yep, I think so. Yep.
Absolutely. So these are my thoughts, right? And I'm gonna pass it to you, Kradz, so you can put your thoughts in. I think this is a sign that he is not a one-hit wonder. When you listen to the 7-track, well, I should say 6-track, because the first. The first track and the last track is literally 2 versions of the same song. So I'll say 6-track. This 6-track EP is a sign that he is not a one-hit wonder and he has a certain style that he's going to go with. The style is this. This guy raps a certain cadence that will appeal to the younger generation still. And also on top of that, he has the grunge 90s sound with the guitar, mixing that with the country music that a lot of people love. So now he's got a demographic now between 30 and down. Huge demographic.
Now, I think I'm going to have a slightly different opinion on it. I wasn't a big fan of it. Now, granted, the kids, I'm not saying it's bad. Yeah. But I'm not saying it's like amazing either.
Oh, yeah, I'm not. I think I'm right there with you. I'm looking at it this way, right? I'm not going to sit over here and say he wowed the crowd, but he made it very clear that he is looking to stay for more than just 1 year.
Oh yeah. No. I thoroughly agree. Especially, I respect it for what it is, because he sat down and he did something experimental, right? Not a lot of people have the I want to say the word privilege or even the moxie to step out and experiment within your own genre. And like you said, he took bits from Nirvana and the 90s grunge, and he's got his contemporary twang he does at the end with Rodeo. I really liked Rodeo, actually.
Yeah, Rodeo's a good one.
I think we realized that he he knows that he does well, and he's pushing those boundaries, which I respect, honestly. And that's what an artist should do. Artist is supposed to do that sort of thing.
Yeah, he has to.
Absolutely.
He has to. Not every song can sound like Old Town Road. It'll get old quick and he'll be gone quick.
Oh,
People
yeah.
will lose interest.
He'll be walking down that Old Town Road at that point.
Right. Career done. But that's not the case with him, and that's not the case with this EP. I think he's got some more stuff he wants to delve in and put more in the tank. This is making me curious about if his EP is sounding like this, I'm wondering what his album is going to be. I'm not saying it's the greatest EP I've ever heard, but I'm curious to see what he does with a full-blown album.
Well, I think once the album comes out, that will be the defining. We'll know for sure at that point. Like, what does this guy got?
Because it's still a gray area.
Right. Oh yeah, definitely. Like
we're getting teaser. The EP's a teaser at this point.
Oh yeah. Like he's got the capability to crank out a couple hits, but can he do it consistently? Right? Can he hold an actual audience? And that's when we'll find. And when the first album comes out, that's what we'll actually know for sure at that point.
Yeah, it should be interesting. I got one more question. The beat of Old Town Road, he paid a producer $30 on YouTube. Do you think that producer got a cut of some of that money that has been made? I hope so, because I feel bad for that producer.
I mean, it depends on how the kid is. Like, is he a cool kid? Like, would he be like, hey man, like, so is it going to be like a Nike Swish moment where like Nike paid some kid $200 in like 5th grade to design it and then made billions of dollars off of it? Or is the kid know where he comes from and say, hey, here's a chunk of whatever. We'll be working together in the future. Here's some royalties. Here's a chunk.
I hope so, man. I hope that producer that made that beat gets a bunch of royalties. He should.
I didn't even know that, actually. That's very good to know.
Yeah. He basically paid a producer like $30 on YouTube, and he made the song.
I mean, like I said, I think that boils down to who is he as a person, and
I mean, we don't know until we get better news. I mean, if the producer comes back, I hope what the producer doesn't do is wait 10, 20, 15 years and be like, I wasn't paid off Old Town Road and I'm trying to get my bag now. No, you should have done your business.
Yeah, right. Don't be salty about it. Right.
Don't be that guy. Don't be that guy that's sitting over here 20 years later being like, oh, I never got paid for this. I was like, well, why didn't you do your business?
Yeah, why didn't you talk to him then?
Right. Why you ain't handling it right then and now?
Yeah, we live in the world of communication, guys. We're doing it right now.
Right
here. Like you just do things like this. This is how you get heard, right?
This is how you get your point across.
Yeah, absolutely.
But what would you rate this EP out of 5? 5 as being the best EPs you've heard. So obviously we can't go.
It ain't gonna be that.
Ain't gonna be there.
Ain't gonna be that. I mean, I'm gonna put it like right in the middle because like
like a 2.5 or a 3.
I'm gonna give it a 3 because like I said, I give the kid a lot of points for experimenting and like really getting out there and having the courage to do it. But at the same time, and like he's got a couple songs in there that I like. Right. At the same time, I don't know. It ain't really my personal jam.
Yeah, I'd give it a 3.
Yeah, like I said, I think. Well, let's revisit the conversation when the album comes out, and then I think we'll have a little more solid grasp on the situation.
Yeah, but I mean, I think it's a sign of good things to come. I think
definitely.
Yeah. So we'll see what happens. I think it's going to be a good look either way. I want to move on to talking about the atomic clock that they are practicing as of right now.
This is cool. Yeah, I'm very excited about this one.
So, in recent news, NASA portable atomic clock is currently being practiced, and I'm gonna read some interesting facts to you guys about what's going on. Traveling the solar system could be one day as easy as taking a bus to work. This is based on sciencenews.org. Scientists envision self-driving spaceships ferrying astronauts through deep space.
Yeah.
So now, a couple of other.
What was I was like, if you don't mind. So the issue with the current atomic clocks we have right now is that they're too heavy to put them on individual satellites or rovers or whatever. They're too heavy. They're also not accurate enough. So what happens is we have to keep one in control at Earth and then send signals that bounce back and forth to the rovers or Voyagers or whatever it is we're sending out there. And then there's a distinct amount of time in which it takes for that signal to bounce back. And then based on how that bounce works, they're able to calculate the trajectory. Trajectory. That's a tough word for me. So that way they know which direction they're going at the moment. And are they going, and yeah, the correct angle as well. And the location.
The end game, no pun intended, but the end game would be, we want to get to a point where if something's going out, that it has its own GPS and that it can be as accurate as possible within the same amount of time it'd be if you were on Earth walking around. Okay.
Yep. We'd want to be able to. We would want it to be as autonomous as possible. So we'd want it to be able to figure out its own trajectory and be able to keep time with minimum processing speed in between it and as accurate as possible. Because the real issue is that the farther away it gets from Earth, obviously, the longer it takes just to figure out your destination.
So wouldn't there to help it almost like a signal enhancer? Wouldn't we have to put more signal or more satellites in space, like actually hovering in space, for that to be more accurate, or would it be just too complicated at that point?
Unfortunately, well, that's not how it works. It's just we only need one satellite to make sure to get a signal. Like I said, the real issue is the fact it's so far away. The issue is the farther away it gets, the worse it's going to be at doing its own job, or the worse we can be at doing our half of the job. So the idea is they finally made an atomic clock that is portable enough and more accurate than the current atomic clocks that NASA uses at command. So theoretically speaking, you could stick that bad boy on a space shuttle, a rover, et cetera, and then it can make its own calculations as opposed to waiting for a response from Earth. So an atomic clock needs to be corrected too. I forgot the exact science behind it, but I do know that GPS have to be corrected all the time from general lag and whatnot. Our clocks are not always accurate. An atomic clock is the most accurate you can get, but it still needs to be corrected twice.
Based on this, based on this, the Deep Space Atomic Clock, for short, counts off the seconds with ticks that are about 50 times more than uniform than those atomic clocks on board of GPS satellites.
Yes, so it is able to. We're essentially outsourcing. We're taking the middleman right out.
Okay.
So we have autonomy. We're giving autonomy to whatever spaceships, whatever it is. Now they don't have to wait. Once you hit, I think, Saturn, it takes 2 hours for signals to get back and forth between Earth and that. And that time, you could have totally lost valuable data, information, directories, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah. And also, for safety reasons, if something was to happen, it would speed up, response time.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
There's some chaotic. If you don't get the signal back long enough, something chaotic may have already happened. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. I'm not trying to put the sense of danger or fear of God in anybody, but I'm just saying these things happen in space. When you're
space is the most dangerous place,
right? Because the fear of the unknown will always scare the crap out of people. You're in a space where there's nothing you can't find a piece of land or it's nothing but black and stars and galaxies that you may not even be familiar with or know.
Also, no one can hear you scream out there. I don't think you knew that. But you do now.
That's even more scary. Cry for help. Forget about it.
Nope. No air. The sound waves can't physically move from your mouth.
That's
Science,
crazy.
Man. Science. I don't know. It's super cool. Although...
super cool and super scary.
Well, that's fair enough. Well, everything is. Everything is super cool is probably like a little bit scary at some point. Right. But even I know there's one issue that's happening where we're getting to the point where we have too much space junk up there. And because there's no friction or atmosphere to slow it down, it keeps rotating, revolving, or orbiting, I guess is the right word, orbiting around the planet, and it gets faster and faster. So they have issues with space junk colliding with satellites, unmanned things they send up there, and getting severely damaged, which causes more space junk, which gets caught in the same thing. So it's a giant blender. So right now, kind of unrelated, I guess, but right now they're in the process of trying to find a way to collect this junk and dispose of it appropriately before we end up having a literal minefield of shrapnel around the world.
We already got landfills or trash. We don't need a space landfill. All right,
It's crazy.
we really don't need that.
There's so many things. So many things.
The last thing I need to see is a big space dumpster somewhere. I don't need to see that. Can we just keep space clean, not piss it off? We already pissed off nature.
Oh yeah, dumpsters in space.
That's the last thing I need. But I mean, do you think this could be a sign of time travel based on this atomic clock practices they're doing, or you think we're too far behind?
No, it is totally unreal. Just because it's a clock, all it means is that it keeps time. It keeps a universal time. It has nothing to do with space. It has nothing to do with space time. It has nothing to do with time travel. We're still way, way off. In order to get to time travel, we have to figure out wormholes. In order to figure out wormholes, we need to figure out a lot of energy output. And right now, that is not something we have. Well, we got CERN, which is kind of cool. And like they're working on building the world's next largest arc reactor.
CERN, can you talk about what CERN is? Because I don't think a lot of people know.
Oh God, what does it stand for? It's the world's largest hadron collider, I think. So it takes particles and it slams them together at light speed, essentially. And when you do that to a particle or a molecule, or I don't really know the exact termination, it's more of a hobby of mine than an actual science. When you take two particles and you slam them together that quickly, the resulting collision can do all kinds of things, like creating antimatter. That's one of the ways you can do that. Or you create new properties or new light, or it's all kinds of things. So it's really, and I think it's in France or Sweden. I don't know. It's in Europe. I know that. But yeah, no, they slam molecules together in order to see what happens. And that's how you get like elements that don't exist in nature, which is really cool. And then, can make metamaterials out of that, which is how you get cloaking devices and all kinds of stuff. So really a fascinating field, honestly.
That's interesting. Maybe we need to get one of those people on here and talk about this more, because that is pretty interesting. Like, if we could get somebody that actually works for them to figure out any cool stories, that would be dope.
Oh yeah,
that would be really interesting. I would like to look into that more. That's pretty interesting.
But I know like Philly has a ton of medical and biotech that has stuff going on too. So you have people to talk. Anyway, we'll talk about that later. But we have options.
I'm interested to see where these options are going to be, because I'm actually interested in seeing where this goes. So, speaking of science, now Jon Stewart has stood up for 9/11 responders. There was a 9/11 bill that ended up being passed by a Congress judicial group. And I think I have the more info right here.
Now, this one, the timing I'm unaware of. Was it passed after he gave his speech or before it?
It was passed after.
Okay.
Now, here's the thing. I'll read more into it. This is from USA Today. Jon Stewart went after Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell on The Late Show with Stephen Colbert on Monday to urge him to usher a passage of the 9/11 Victims Compensation Fund. Now, apparently there was already like $5 billion used out of the $7 billion. And when Jon Stewart spoke, there was a bunch of these, 9/11 first responders that had like several cases of you're talking about a lot of people were affected during that day. We're talking about 50 cases of cancer, dude.
Oh yeah, I'm sure. Based on just the hazards.
Yeah, just the hazards around.
Breathing, being exposed to elements that you should not be exposed to.
Right.
General stress also does that to you too.
Yeah, absolutely. So you got that, and these people are sitting there, and then he looks over, and then he sees like the first row of several people like not there, plus a little bit of a few folks. So he was outraged, and he went after them about it, and they got the bill passed.
Can I say that the speech he gave is phenomenal.
It is.
I've watched it twice. It's fucking phenomenal.
It is. It is very moving. That'll move anybody to do something positive like that. First of all, my thing is this, right? Anybody who stood there, took on the brunt to help others, and now is dealing with a debilitating disease, we don't need to have a hearing for it.
Mm-hmm.
Like, we don't need to have a hearing for it. Psychologically, it needs to be like, these people helped us with one of the most traumatic moments in our country's history. Let's help them. We don't need no like. It's like, how much do y'all need? We'll take care of the families. Like, we got it.
I mean, that's what theoretically speaking is what it is. But politics never works that way. It never. That's why it's called politics. It's not called common sense. Like if it's called common sense, it'd be a lot easier here. But unfortunately, one man's common sense does not make sense to the other man's. I don't know. But this is exactly what needed to happen.
Yeah.
Somebody needed to sit down in front of Congress and say, you're being a bunch of fucking assholes.
Right.
These are people that, and this is not a New York, like, well, I'm going to quote Jon Stewart right now. This is not a New York problem. This is an American problem. These people came out, put their lives at risk for Americans, for us, for everybody here, because we were attacked as a people, as a culture,
right.
And for everything we stood for.
Right. This was a premeditated attack, and I don't want to hear any conspiracy theories in the comments talking about 9/11 was a hack. I don't want to hear about that. The problem is that this was an attack on the country, and these first responders need the proper care. You got dudes walking around with multiple different types of cancer, a bunch of diseases and stuff like that. This shouldn't even be up for a debate. Help them.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Like it's
this still has to, and the sad thing about it is this still has to pass through the House and the Senate, which it should, and then it's going to be signed by President, and then if so, after that, it's going to be signed by President Trump into making it law. I hope that all happens. I don't see why it would not happen. You know what I mean? I don't see why it would not happen.
Well, that's like I said. That's why it's called politics. There's a slew of things that it has to get through. A lot of it we don't even know. A lot of it may not even have anything to do with the first responders. It might be a lobbyist doesn't want this happen because part of the bill affects this company negatively, and they're going to vie to try to get it changed. Something along those lines. Like I said, there is 1,000,001 things that go into it. When
it comes to helping those that have helped serve this country, and whether anybody likes it or not, anybody that has ever helped or served this country, they need to get first dibs on everything, and that's including first responders as well, especially for something as catastrophic as 9/11. There should not be no debating. There should be no back and forth. And what's crazy about it is they should have moved on it anyway. Like I remember McConnell was like, I don't know why he's getting bent out of shape, and Jon Stewart's response was, I'm not getting bent out of shape for me. I'm getting bent out of shape for them because they shouldn't be treated like this and be going through hearings like this.
Yeah,
basically in a nutshell was what he was saying. I'm paraphrasing what he was saying, but that's basically in his mind. He was using himself as a vessel to speak up for those who couldn't speak up for themselves, who were too sick to speak up for themselves. That's what his psychological mind was thinking.
And that's what democracy is supposed to be. Democracy is supposed to be, we have representatives that are supposed to do that for us.
Right.
And when you have representatives that no longer are willing to speak for the people they represent, you don't have a democracy anymore. I don't know what you have, but it's not a democracy.
Yeah, you don't.
Like it's a shame we had to come to this point. But no matter what your personal feelings are against, first responders or anybody in those fields, they need to be taken care of because they're going out of their way to take care of you. There shouldn't be no back and forth complaining about this and that. They're doing a job that, truth be told, nobody wants to say it. Some people are scared to put their life on the line. I wouldn't
for a bunch of other strangers. I wouldn't. Are you kidding me?
Yeah. Like, I respect them greatly, but I respect them because I would not do it.
Right. They're doing stuff, and they got guts and cojones to go out there and do what they're doing, and knowing the risk involved. I don't think I'd be comfortable doing that. I want to come back and see my family. I want to be in the best health. Sorry if it sounds selfish, but I don't think me or Kradz would have the stomach to do that. I wouldn't.
Which is why we got to take care of the people who would.
Right.
Because if we stop taking care of them, are you going to do it? That's me playing at a general.
I'll answer that for you. Some of them are not. I'm not saying everybody is bad. Don't get me wrong. We're not trying to make this a doom and gloom situation, but we are going to be real on here. Some of y'all would. We appreciate that. Some of y'all would not. Don't sit over there. Yeah, most people would not.
Right.
Absolutely.
Like, it just goes to show even Congress apparently would not, because a first responder puts other people in front of themselves, right?
Right.
And right now, I don't know what Congress is putting in front of them,
but here's the problem.
But it wasn't them.
But here's the problem. Nobody on that. There's very few people in Congress that would act or have the mindset of a first responder to even feel the apathy to make that move.
Oh yeah. Well, now we're getting to hyperbole, I guess. Now we're just trying to now we're getting into politics. It's a dangerous field.
I'm just saying. I mean,
Yeah,
it's
you're
one
right.
of those situations. At the end of the day, you have to look out for the people, because at the end of the day, that's what makes this country go round. It's the people. It's not the
right.
government or politics. I tell people all the time, there's no point of debating about politics. That's why on this show I literally put a halt to stop talking. I'm kind of breaking the fourth wall, but
we're watching ourselves watching us.
it's one of those situations where I personally made a move to stop talking about politics for this reason. We sit over here, we pick a side, we choose a side. One side's going to ignore what you stand for. The other side is going to exploit what you stand for. And depending on the circumstance at hand, the only person that is getting played is the citizen.
The only person who suffers out of this, right?
Right.
Well, it's interesting. You watch TED Talks before, right?
Yeah, I've seen a couple.
Okay, so there's a TED. You know who George Takei is, right?
Refresh my memory.
Oh my, that guy.
Oh yeah. I
Star
know
Trek
exactly
guy?
what you're talking about. Yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about.
So he had a TED Talk that was really interesting. I didn't know this. So everyone knows World War II. We had Japanese American intern camps. Like we would arrest Japanese Americans during World War II, and we would ship them off to internment camps. They weren't concentration camps, but they were internment camps. And then the American government confiscated everything. They confiscated their homes, anything they could, equities, whatever the word I'm looking for is. And they lived in these internment camps for X amount of years. I forgot what the actual time frame is. But when they were released, they were not given their property back. They were given a one-way ticket to anywhere in the U.S. That was their compensation. Fun fact, or maybe less fun in this case, George Takei grew up in a Japanese American internment camp. His family was sent there when he was 2 years old. He said he remembered, he found it perfectly normal to have twice daily bunk examinations, where they pull everybody out, they check them for paraphernalia, check their bunks. He thought it was perfectly normal to take mass showers in groups with other strangers, or when you go out to play, having spotlights follow you all over the place. So the point of this, because there's a point, is he had one line in this TED Talk that was amazing. So at the end of this, of course, he and his family were shipped out. I think they chose San Francisco. And his father, his mother, everyone had to start over with nothing. They had to start over from the beginning. And I remember him in the TED Talk. He says he asked his father, "Dad, why do you still love this country so much?" Because his dad still does. Like, why do you still love a country that betrayed you, essentially, just for the fact that you are the same skin as this people who are attacking us? And he said, "Son, a democracy is only as good as the people that make it up. It is never good. It is never bad. It is only ever made up of the people there." And at that moment, the people were scared of Japanese, and and that is the decisions they made. So I always say, like, to comment on what you're saying about it's about the people, and it should always be about the people. The people make up the democracy. The people, whatever the people value, the government would value or should value. And if they don't, like we've seen with, the Florida shootings and whatnot,
Right.
people make it known what they value. So right now Jon Stewart told him that we value our first responders and they should be taken care of. So we should be shown the same courtesy they gave us.
All right, absolutely. So that bill has been passed through a certain committee. I think it's a judicial committee that's been passed through, if I'm not mistaken. And then it will go through the House and the Senate. And if that passes, it will go and be signed by President Trump into law. So hopefully that happens. Shout outs to all of the first responders on 9/11.
And
living and passed on, their families. We definitely appreciate the sacrifice and the privileges that we live with every single day. thanks to your sacrifice and the sacrifice of many other people, those in the military as well. We shout outs to you guys as well, because you guys deserve first dibs on everything. You know what I mean? So
yeah,
I definitely agree.
And to Jon Stewart for
absolutely big ups to Jon Stewart for standing in the gap. Who couldn't stand up for themselves. So it was definitely. I mean, I found a new respect for Jon Stewart.
Absolutely.
I've never seen him in this light ever before. That's been publicly addressed to me. So when I saw this, I was like, wow. Because before that,
I'm going to watch that speech again.
Yeah, I mean, I encourage. I mean, I have to look at his full speech. Even I have to look at his full speech because I want to see it. I encourage everybody to look at that full speech.
Mm-hmm. It's a 9-minute speech.
9-minute speech, but powerful 9 minutes, bro.
Oh my God!
I'm definitely going to see.
The entire chamber has a standing ovation. Congress looked dumbfounded because they should be. Sorry, now I'm getting personal. All right, now I'm getting heated.
Now, I wanted to bring up. Speaking of more legislature. New York passes bill that would legislature passes bill that would expunge convictions on the lower level for marijuana offenders. Here are my thoughts on it. Right, let's cut the crap here. Currently, right now, hint, hint, hint. There is a certain number of stock that is currently you can get for pennies on the dollar. Guess what that is? Medical marijuana.
Say it with us now.
Medical marijuana. The U.S., not just New York, but the U.S. will legalize marijuana once they get their cut and once they figure out how to way to bring it into the space to make a profit out of it legally.
Yeah, well, like the individual states are like reaping the rewards right now, and pretty soon, I mean,
it's just a matter of time. It's going to be nationwide.
I mean, people tend to forget that at one point, alcohol was illegal here. Alcohol,
time of the prohibition
was
days,
illegal. Yeah, and people made money off of it, and I don't mean the government. I mean all the wrong people made the money off of it.
Right.
And it was unregulated. People were getting sick. People were dying off of it. Cops are being shot because they're getting in the getting into conflict with the mob. You know, it's kind of ridiculous. But at some point, I forgot what ended up changing it exactly. But at the same time, I feel like we're entering the end of prohibition for pot, for marijuana, because the original reason it's illegal is all the wrong reasons to begin with. Like it's ridiculous.
Well, it's one of those situations. Look, I'd rather have it legal and people can legally have access to it than illegal, and then you have the dark side of it when it's very illegal, because now people can lace weed with certain things and stuff of that nature. You start
having the Al Capones of the world, right?
Yeah, you start having the Al Capones and the different gangsters that want to lace it with something to make it, and bad enough that it already has a dirty stigma to it. Now you're going to lace it with something like heroin or something crazy like that, or you know what I mean, and all that different stuff of that nature. You got people walking around thinking it's already a gateway drug to other things, and then you're going to do that and pollute it to further motivate that claim.
Well, that's a very specific reference, but like, even if you just legalize it, it takes the funding right out of the people you don't want to have funding.
Absolutely,
like the human traffickers,
right?
And people will make money. If you already have one illegal thing going on, you've got a bunch of other. Like if you have an international illegal, ring going on, you got all this stuff going on with it.
Right, absolutely.
So like if you take the financing out of that one, you've just made it a lot harder for them to do the rest of it.
Right. I'd rather have things go from a legal standpoint. That way it kind of minimizes kind of the bad parts of everything that's going on, than having it be illegal and something's getting into the wrong hands.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's the probation era caused so much issue here.
Right.
It's not even funny. Like that's actually what gave the mob its teeth too, because they found poor neighborhoods found it easier to band together to create protection, which eventually allowed them to create their own companies that were less than legal.
Right. I agree. I mean, you could look at the stock now. You could look at the stock for medical marijuana right now, and it is up there. It's up there for a reason. Once everything is passed nationwide, that stock is gonna start to grow and grow and make serious money for people that actually invest early.
Now, one thing, do you know the specifics of this bill? Because that's the one. So I'll be honest, I did not get a chance to look into this. I don't know.
I can pull it up right
the
now.
Stipulations
I can pull it up right now and read it.
Because like everybody knows it should be legal by now.
So
and if he doesn't, I don't know what country you're living in.
The new legislation would reduce the penalty for the possession of under 1 ounce to $50. To a $50 fine, basically.
So wait, is it? So it's decriminalizing it, specifically in New York.
This is strictly New York.
Oh, okay.
This is strictly New York. Eventually, I think it will get everywhere, but this is strictly in New York.
Well, it's already in Philadelphia. I know that. Philadelphia is already decriminalized, but specifically in city limits, though. Like, so it's decriminalized, but you can still get arrested for like intent to sell and stuff.
Right. And then in terms of, there will also be a $200 fine for possession of between 1 to 2 ounces.
Okay.
That's in New York, though.
Okay. So does it do anything for the people who are already imprisoned?
Yeah, they're currently working on that now as well.
Okay, because I think
that's the biggest thing.
That is the thing we need to work on, because there are people in confinement that should not be.
Especially not for some weed.
Yeah, let's be fair. That's been a long.
Now, if you laced it with something, then that's a totally different topic.
What is with you and has someone like laced weed in front of you?
No, I've never smoked weed, but I've heard so many. Here's the thing, right? I've heard so many horror stories about weed being laced with something. See, I was taught let me be careful because I don't want people thinking I'm some kind of drug dealer when I'm not. I heard so many horror stories about weed being laced with this or being a gateway drug to something else that it took away me having an objective approach for a while, to the point where I would start, if I saw somebody with weed, I would tend to judge them negatively.
Well, that's the point of it. So the whole gateway drug thing. So, oh God, what was the name of the program?
It was like I got fed, a bad word and just went by it and didn't even look forward to it.
But that's what propaganda is supposed to do. And like, propaganda is any kind of media or outlet that is designed to change a group of people or an individual's mind on something without even being informed about it. It's supposed to make an impact on you, whether it's true or not. I mean, that's God, what is the name of it? There was a program in the 80s that I'm pretty sure Nancy Reagan enforced.
DARE.
Was it DARE? I'm pretty sure that's...
I remember DARE being late 80s into the 90s, and then it stopped around 2000.
DARE is definitely one of them. And like where they showed up and they were like, here's a bunch of drugs, kids. Here's just how they're going to fuck you up. And you should just say no. Right, yeah. But it ended up exposing kids to a lot of drugs and like what happens with them and where you go. But that's beside the point. The issue is that it was an anti-drug. The war on drugs is a iron fist anti-drug propaganda machine. Like, you can't enforce something without informing the people of the dangers of it first, right? Like, God, what was that one movie about, like the one propaganda movie about the Reefer Madness? Yeah, that was made specifically to scare people so badly that they never smoke weed. I mean, how much of that is accurate? Actually, have you seen that movie before?
No, I haven't. I ain't heard of it till you said something,
dude. It is
just now.
It is so it's wonderfully bad. Like, it's so bad that you're like, there's no way this was an actual like public service announcement about weed and the effects of it. But
wow,
that's exactly what it was meant to be. It was just so bad that they eventually made a comedy out of it later on. But like, just remember when you watch the first version of it, this is what they're pushing, that this is the real effects of weed. So like, this is right now America working against decades, and I mean decades, of anti-drug propaganda and stigmatizing. That's why it's so hard for like addicts to get any sort of treatment or any sort of like proper support, is because they're now stigmatized based on this, as opposed to they're shown to be fiends, as opposed to somebody with a sickness or somebody with an actual problem. I
think that's what's I think that is what's terrible, because now with medical marijuana and with marijuana period, there have been studies that have shown that marijuana does cure seizures, and it does help with anxiety for some people. It does help with a lot of different things. So if somebody is medically obligated to get something like that, he shouldn't be walking around fearful of somebody else's opinion.
Right.
You know what I mean? And I think that has a lot. Obviously, it's a cause and effect of the stigma, of the negative stigma over marijuana for so many years. And also, I think that the U.S. realizes now, hey, we can really make some money off this. And if we legalize it, we'll probably get rid of half the problem. So I think don't be surprised if a year, 2 years from now, this is, legally worldwide. No, I wouldn't say worldwide, but nationwide.
Yeah. Funny enough, I don't know if, funny enough, Europe hates weed more than America does.
Get out of here.
I'm dead serious, which is very strange to me. But all my very, very good European friends, their parents would disown them if they found out they were smoking weed.
Wow, that's crazy.
Well, especially the French. For some reason, all my French friends are like, I cannot tell. I don't know. But I don't know how it is in South America, but I do know that. Which is funny because the guy who brought hemp over, that's incorrect. So I was thinking of the DuPonts. That's incorrect. Ignore that last bit. But I don't know why, but it's just like it is a, especially in the Western world, is a universally like faux pas thing. So we're working, like I said, we're working against decades of propaganda and anti-drug rhetoric, and the demonizing of people who do drugs. So.
Because we realize that it's actually, in some cases, medically good for some people, and also that we realize that, it's a business. We realize we can make money off of it.
Well, hey, there's always got to be a motivator, right? There's always got to be a what's in it for me, because that's true for anybody. Like even if you go down, if your friend's like, hey, can you help me move a couch?
Right.
Even if your motivation's like, makes me feel good to help my buddy, that's still a motivation. Like you still need something. But like to comment on the bigger drug scale, I mean, look at ketamine. They have ketamine clinics now for people with drug-resistant depression, which is something that we've been battling with as a culture for a long time now. But there are certain cases in which, it's relatively new. I don't know how long the study's been going on for. I know there's a clinic in Austin and a couple in California. Go figure. But they have people in which they take people with medically medication-resistant depression. People have gone through like electroshock therapy. People having all kinds of stuff, and they put them in these regimens of ketamine infusions. And apparently, most people, not all people, but most people, it has shown drastic changes. Granted, they have to have like replacement infusions once in a while, or they will return to that state. But it doesn't really matter. Like you're treating somebody of a horrible neurological condition. Like it's amazing, But there's all this stuff that we could be researching, but the government's not allowed to because there's federal bans on this stuff. There's still only last time I checked, it was only 2 farms that are federally allowed to grow marijuana and supply it to research areas. It's even less for things like psychedelics. You're like, wait, it's so hard to get permission to experiment with psychedelics ever. It's ridiculous.
That's interesting.
So we have a lot that we have to work toward as well. A nation in general, really.
Yeah, it's a lot, but it's going to be interesting to see what happens.
Oh, absolutely. I'm very excited about it.
So our last topic is going to be Cardi B. Now, Cardi B was indicted in New York City.
Isn't it always?
She was indicted in New York City Friday on a felony charge stemming from a strip club brawl from last year. Now, apparently, she got.
I don't know why it's funny to me, but it's quite funny.
This is okay. So this is the details about the whole thing. Cardi B reportedly, this is based off of what article is this? NBC News. So based off NBC News, Cardi B reportedly suspected one of the sisters was having an affair with her husband Offset, who is with the band Amigos. And let me see what else. It's like a telenovela. She was caught on video throwing a bucket of ice at the sisters whom she confronted.
When being ratchet is part of your brand.
When you decide I'm going to be ratchet and I'm mad that my husband cheated on me. I know everything is good now because we've obviously, when she got a Grammy, he was up there. Everything is good now. Shout outs to them. We glad y'all worked it out. However, a woman scorned mixed with being at a strip club is never a good thing. And then if the girl that your husband cheated on you with is at the strip club, that's never a good thing either.
It's called, the expression is, don't shit where you eat. Offset. But like, yeah, just like at the same time, this time, like, I mean, like, I don't blame her. A part of me, if I was there, I'd probably cheer it on. But some men would just want to see the world burn, apparently, But like, still, time and a place, guys.
I think the hearing for it is, if I'm not mistaken, June.
Wait, did she
25th.
injure said woman? How bad is this woman? I missed it. Is this woman badly injured from it or something? Or
she was indicted on 2 counts of felony attempted assault and lesser charges.
I mean, honestly, that just helped her brand right there. I mean, that's beef cred.
I mean, you could call it beef cred. I just call it she's too big of a star to be in the middle of this crap.
Yeah, but still, that's her brand, right? It's like 50 Cent not having a beef with somebody. Like it's his brand. He's gonna do it. It's his claim to fame. Even though he's a great businessman, he's still gonna do this stupid stuff because that's like what he was known
50
for.
lately, I mean, he's been doing kind of the hey, you owe me money kind of jokes. Like some of those are jokes. If it's as long as your name's not Ja Rule, it's a joke. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But when it comes to Cardi B, I just feel like she really does not need to be involved in any of this. Like, you got to move when you're a star. I understand. Offset cheated on you. That's past tense. We know that was back in December, November. We know we're aware of that. You forgave him. That makes sense. And Offset's actually doing better. He's a part of the Black Men Don't Cheat Club officially. So he's on that trend.
Wow.
Do not. Yeah. I definitely. Yep. Good for him. He's not doing that anymore. Good. He's reformed.
He's reformed like Tiger. Oh God! What are the meetings are like where they sit around and hold hands and try to think of only their wives?
Hey man, you do exactly what you gotta. Hey man, you do exactly what you gotta do to make sure that you have a happy life with a happy wife.
It ain't whatever he did beforehand.
Well, obviously,
yeah.
That's why she's having this charge right now.
Yeah. Oh man. Although I also would not want to make Cardi B angry. I feel like,
oh God, cussing you out in Spanish.
That woman is fierce.
Yeah, you probably be thrown out of the window, Kradz.
Probably. I mean, yeah, it may or may not be worth it. I wouldn't know at that point.
Oh, that'd be terrible. But I mean, we hope it all works out. She seems happy. Her and Offset are in good terms, so we wish nothing but the best. So yeah, man, this is pretty much it. These are all the topics that we have. Kradz, if somebody wants to follow you on your different creative projects that you got going on, where can they find you?
Yes. So, well, right now the best way to find me is on Instagram, like usual. I have a Facebook, but Instagram is really the best one. Facebook, I have to update a little bit more. But yeah, no, I have Instagram, which is just Josh_Kradz. That's Kradz. Easiest way to keep up with me. I've been getting better at posting more frequently there and doing live videos and whatnot. So yeah, and then my agency is linked to there too. If anybody needs to talk to me about booking anything or a project they want to work on, I'm always willing to talk to somebody. So yeah, we're all in this together, guys. That's all I can say.
Absolutely. Well, we appreciate you for coming on, man. Appreciate you for coming on, and
thank you for having me.
We'll have you back. This is what, your third time?
Yeah, actually it is. It is. It's good to be back.
Yeah. And you still monitored. Don't ever forget that.
#monitored.
Freaking Comic-Con Tatiana. Anyway, this has been another edition of Audio Airstrike.
Good memories.
We'll see y'all later. Look, I lied. We're back. We got more. And it's not just me and Kradz talking this time. We got a couple of other guests. I have Josh Kradz to my right. I have Michael Paul to my right.
That's my name.
You lucky I didn't put your real name out there.
Don't throw it out there. People looking.
Yeah, I know people looking. IRS looking hard, ain't it?
Not just them. Immigration, everything.
Immigration.
You don't want to know. He knows about it. I don't need to do it.
About it. I was contracted to do the wall. But go ahead.
Interesting. So you are responsible. So wait a minute. How y'all sitting together? And you know he's an illegal immigrant.
They weren't paying good, man. I had to go.
Oh,
Trump
man.
sent out a Twitter, and I don't know. I just had to go.
Oh, man. So all jokes aside, we got Josh Kradz to my right. To another far right, we got Michael Paul in the house. And you guys know at this point, he's been on the podcast enough times. You know who this is. This is Jeff Henson. Lord
back,
knows what will
baby.
come out of his
I
mouth
am
by the time
back.
it's over.
Let's go. Let's get into it.
All right, let's get into it real quick. So, Child's Play is upon us. That remake is going to be done by the producers of It. Now, I've always been under the notion, and Mike, you can agree.
Yep.
Leave the classics alone. If you can't do it right, don't touch them. I don't want to hear no hang-ups, no mistakes, or nothing of that nature whatsoever. Now, with that being said, I saw the trailer for Child's Play. I'm interested, and I'll pick up a ticket to go see it. I'm interested. I'm not sold on it. I'm not excited for it, but I'm interested. This is a remake that looks promising to a point. What's everybody else's take on it, though? Now, I'll give it a chance, but I know there's some people in inquiring minds in the room that may not be as gracious as me. So feel free to speak now. Y'all ain't gonna hold your peace, so just speak now.
All right, here's my take on it. I'm an avid fan of the original Child's Play. I've watched all the movies, everything about it. What I don't like about this remake is you're taking a pivotal point of the movie and changing it. You're taking out the fact that Charles Lee Ray, the serial killer, possesses this doll and is on, this quest to find a body to put his soul into. I mean, it was an original story at the time. It never been done. And now you're changing it to, now it's just another robots are trying to, take over. Or killer robots, rather.
Artificial intelligence.
Artificial intelligence. My bad. But I would have not made it a remake. I would have just done a new story. You know what I mean?
It's interesting.
I mean, remakes, as you said, like the classics, they shouldn't be touched if you can't do them right. And sometimes they can be right. Like we talked about earlier with Pet Sematary. I was surprised by Pet Sematary. It was actually a good remake. It stuck true to the book and the original movie. But with the Child's Play, I mean, like you said, I'll give it a shot. I was sold on the trailer. Trailer looked promising. I mean, once I see it, maybe the story will be good.
That's very interesting. Look, I want to say one thing. He brought something up that made sense. Like, why remake it when you can give it its own separate storyline? It's a doll. It's ageless. You know what I'm saying? It's a spirit. It's ageless.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, that's kind of bright. I like that.
I come up with bright stuff sometimes.
It's a rare scenario.
Very rare, but it happens.
Well,
Have better self-esteem for yourself anyway.
Well, like I said, I don't know. I think it's just, I agree with you. I don't know why they had to remake it. Like I said, I love the remake of it. Well, sorry, I guess it's not really a remake, but I love the new iteration of it because they didn't really have a movie. They had a mini short, like a serial. So I'm cool with the way they've been doing it, and they did a great job. You're right. I don't really know why they had to sit down and do a remake of this one. Like it seems like they're more just playing on, the current fears of AI. So you have
Right.
Elon Musk getting on Joe Rogan and talking about how much we should be cautious of AIs while we're having self-driving cars and et cetera, et cetera. So like it's not really. They don't need Chucky specifically to make this point.
No.
Like they got a ton of other movies that can make this point. Terminator's been making this point forever.
Yeah.
So like,
Yeah.
and they already got a new Terminator coming out. So like, I don't know why they had to do this one. Yeah, have you seen the trailer for that one?
I have not.
I haven't seen it yet
Oh
either.
man, it's like Doomsday or something. No, it's not that. Dark Fate. Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, it's got everything. They just brought they have like a human hybrid, and then they have the liquid metal guy back, and then I think they even flashed like a brief image of Arnold Schwarzenegger as he is now. Like it's just I don't know what they're doing with it.
I'm going to take a look at this
It's
trailer.
not. Yeah, it's not good now. Arnold don't look too good now. I mean,
than most 70-year-olds, that's for sure.
I ain't gonna lie. The trailer looked a little promising. A lot more than I expected because it's a common thing. Bring a movie back, fuck it up. Bring a movie back, fuck it up. Bring a movie back, fuck it up.
Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, right there. Yeah.
And the problem with Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles isn't I didn't have the problem that everybody else had with, you know, they use CGI and all that shit. I did not have that problem. I preferred that. I grew up watching Ninja Turtles, and yes, it was great as a kid, but watch it now. It's tragic. The fight scenes suck, yada, yada, yada. But I had no problem with them bringing it back CGI. I do have a problem with you making them look like these big-ass mutant monsters, but they're getting their ass beat like they're not mutant monsters. You know what I'm saying? And where's the real kung fu in it? You know, they just basically did a lot of CGI as shit, which I guess Michael Bay is known for that, but that's fine. But we ain't even here talking about that. You done got me started on a whole nother movie.
I'm about to say, boy, you about to get in a whole rant over another. So what's
I didn't hate it. I didn't hate it.
Right.
Honestly,
cool.
I didn't love it, but I didn't hate it. So I'm 50-50 with it.
Is there any like subtle beef that you have with the Child's Play trailer? Because if anybody would have beef over a remake, it would be you.
It was the number one, and my man said something earlier before we had to take another 14 takes that it was a series. I didn't know that.
We didn't take no damn 14 takes.
I'm joking. It was 12.
It was
but
15.
Listen, I didn't know it was
at
a
least
series.
5.
Okay, 5. We'll go with 5 if that'll make you feel better.
It was 5.
It does. It makes
Yeah.
you feel
It's 5.
It was
If
5,
makes
guys.
you feel better. Take number 6. Here we go. But back to the point. You know, he said that, you know, it was a series. I didn't know it was a series. I watched it as a kid, as a VHS tape. That just looked like a movie to me. So to me, I didn't know that was a series. So that's kind of enlightening to know. I'm actually more curious about that now. Because when they remade the movie, they kind of did it shot by shot. You know, that's what made it good, is they didn't fuck it all up. They didn't twist it and turn it and flip it and flop it. You know, they literally made it shot by shot. So for me, it was like, okay, I got an enlightening new version of it that doesn't take away from the movie I loved as a child. But at the same time, if I'm sitting here, I'm waiting for something fresh and something new, I'm just like, yeah, I've already seen this 30 years ago or 20 years ago, or however the fuck long ago it was. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I'm sitting here and I'm taking it back. Like, was it good? It was good. But was it, you know, worth going to the theaters for when I could wait for it to come out on Blu-ray? I could wait for it to come out on Blu-ray. Now, Child's Play, like you said, they're running on this fear that everybody has. Like you said, Elon Musk was on Joe Rogan's podcast, and he has some very valid points. But when you're sitting here and you're watching this trailer and you're like, damn, you know, they're playing, they got the Andy role, you know, you got Chucky. So you're basically remaking our childhood movie, and you're playing it off of today's fears, which I get. This is going to bring more seats and you know, asses to the seats, in my opinion.
Do you feel like it's too much? Do you feel like they're trying to overdo it?
I feel like I can't judge something I have not seen. So I can't sit here like, oh, it fucking sucks. How do I know? I got to watch it. Now, am I a big, huge fan of them changing the concept? No, I'm not. Because, to be honest, the one thing I'm taking from this is Chucky is actually something to be feared now. I sit here and I watch the old Child's Play, I will punt kick that fucking doll. What the fuck is that doll going to do to me? You know what I'm saying? I'm thinking to myself, like, people were running from that fucking thing.
So you going to go Justin Tucker on his ass. That's what you're saying.
Basically. Except I'm actually going to hit my shot when it counts, Justin Tucker. Don't even get me started with that missed field goal. Get me started.
Hey,
Anyway.
it's one out of a bunch that he has made.
It was a crucial miss.
It was okay. Oh, look how many he's made
We're
compared to how many he's
We're
missed.
not talking about
You
the
wrong for
failing
that.
Ravens right
You wrong
now.
for that.
Let's go.
Failing Ravens. We'll talk about that in another podcast.
We'll definitely bring that
We
podcast.
definitely-
Let's
yeah.
do that podcast.
I will invite you on personally for that
But
one.
stop trying to take away Child's Play, you know, in its glory right now. I do feel like Chucky has something to be, you know, I'm fearing this fucking thing now. This motherfucker got a car chasing me.
Right.
A car can fuck me up. A little 2-foot doll cannot, in my opinion.
That's what, like, where's the story gonna go, right? Because if the quote unquote, if the issue is the AI's evil thing, then why the hell is the doll in it to begin with? What's gonna go? Like, is the next movie is it gonna be an evil like toaster oven? Like, what's going on with this? Like, we're gonna have like autonomous cars, like Teslas being taken over by Chucky. Is it like a virus now? Then so you're like the Child's Play is just it just gets thrown out the window at that point. Like, where do you go with it from that?
You could remake the little toaster.
I think what could have been interesting if they wanted to play with the AI thing. I think I remember there was a Netflix series called Altered Carbon, which was basically you could take somebody's consciousness and put it in a different body. Now, if they took the consciousness of a serial killer and put it in a doll, the way that Altered Carbon did, then this would be a much more. I think it would add to the trailer being like going from I'll give it a chance to this is gonna look dope.
Well, I mean that would stick closer to the original plot line too.
Absolutely, and blend it more of today's current fears even more.
I mean, to be fair, we don't know that yet. You know, we could go see the movie and be like, well, just to comment on what you're saying, we could go see the movie and be like, oh, someone digitized the brain of a serial killer and now it's in a doll. So, you know, there's still a chance it may happen. I don't know. It's just one of the, but you never know. It's sci-fi. You know, it's sci-fi horror. You can do whatever the hell you want and justify it in some weird way. You know.
Yeah. We watched the trailer, you know, we didn't watch the first half of the movie and left. And now we're upset and commenting about it.
Right.
You know what I mean?
We're not cloud chasing on this podcast.
You know, this, in my opinion, I think you are right. I think that's something that you should have done to, like, you know, give the nostalgia that most fans are probably going to want. But I think the problem is they're like, you know what? I've done put out so many fucking Chuckies. Came back and did a Netflix movie or a series?
Oh, no, it was straight to DVD, then Netflix.
Straight to DVD, then Netflix. Well, they came out with so many terrible ones after the originals. They probably was like, okay, how the fuck can we modernize this?
What killed the originals is you had Child's Play 1, 2, and 3. Fine. But then you went to Bride of Chucky and Seed of Chucky and you took away what made Chucky with that horror factor and made them comedies. Yeah. And you tried to redeem yourself with your last two movies, but people had already lost interest in the story by that time.
Right. So it may be one of them situations where, because I noticed now when Halloween came out, they're saying do away with the junk movies. This is right after the first original movie. Same thing with Terminator. Terminator is taking place after T2. Forget the other stuff. That's what they're saying. They're saying they're looking at this as another canon. I think, me personally, I think this is another one of those type movies, which is why they're taking that route. So it should be interesting. It's very interesting to see where this goes and to see where it comes up from there. But, I mean, I think it makes sense to, when you mess up a canon, a certain movie canon, it's best if your original was good, just do a different canon and have the events take place after the original or the last good movie that was critically acclaimed and well done. So that is the strategic, that is kind of the move, that's kind of the chess move that I'm seeing now when it comes to these remakes, is they literally are telling the audience this is right after, forget those other movies. They'll even admit that the movie was trash and be like, forget those other movies, this is right after the original or the next best one.
I mean, like I said, I'm skeptical of remakes, like with Nightmare on Elm Street when they remade that.
I don't blame you.
That one was
Trash.
horrible. But going back to touching on major parts that are changed in the movie, like the iconic voice of Chucky, Brad Dourif, he's not even in the movie this time because you talk about series with It and stuff. They're actually producing a Child's Play series, and Brad Dourif is starring in that. That's why he's not in the movie. And they got Mark Hamill voicing Chucky.
It's not a bad replacement. If he can do it right.
So I don't know where they're going to go with the Child's Play series, but I'm interested when news about that comes out.
Right. It's going to be interesting.
Skynet meets Child's Play.
Well, hopefully, they may do the original storyline with the series because there's enough there to really kick something off.
I mean, yeah,
they could go back and talk about the killer that dies and, you know, they could go back that far before he takes over Chucky's body. They could go back that far.
A prequel to Charles Lee Ray would be good. Or even what's happened since the last movie. He took over the body of his daughter or somebody in this asylum and see where it goes from there would be nice too.
Right. Depends.
Andy looked a little too old to be playing with a doll, in my opinion.
He's got social issues. Leave him alone.
You know, if we want to go to the serious, you know, if we really want to break down the trailer, he looked a little too old to be playing with a doll.
Well,
the original movie, he looked like he should have been playing with a doll.
Well, here's the thing, right? I think that move didn't surprise me because a lot of people, when they have kid roles, they'll hire somebody who looks slightly older to play a kid that's younger.
Because we didn't have that problem when we were in our era. They had kids playing them roles.
But I'm just saying, I understand that, but there are productions that will pull that move so that way they can communicate with the kid older, more aware, better stuff. You know what I'm saying? It's just a easier thing to do.
Well, I heard that was one of the reasons with the Pet Cemetery where they swapped the baby dying with the older girl, because you can do more with the older character and she takes commands well,
Right.
better than a child,
Right.
or a baby.
Right, makes sense. So, what are we giving last thoughts on? What are we giving the trailer? We can give a trailer a rating to close out.
I think the trailer did what it needed to do. Get us interested. We're sitting here talking about it, aren't we?
Yeah.
So I think, if you're going to give a trailer a rating, give it a 5 out of 5. Then you rate the movie. If the trailer just looks like complete shit and you're like, damn, I already know what's going to happen in the movie, then you just say, okay, let's not do a podcast about it. You know what I mean?
I agree with you. I'd give it a 5 out of 5 because I'm skeptical of it, but the trailer's got me wanting to see it to see what happens.
Exactly.
Well, like a bad trailer would either be something that gives you nothing or gives you too much.
Yep.
And like you said, it gave us just enough to talk about it.
And to wonder.
Yeah, exactly.
What else they going to do, you know?
So yeah, 5 out of 5, definitely. We're probably going to go see it. So we can confirm this.
See it, then review it. Let's do that.
That's the way to do it.
Well, that's right. So here's what we'll do. We'll all go see it. We'll pick a date, and then we'll come back on the show and talk about it and talk about the movie more in depth. But I give the trailer a 4 out of 5 for this reason. I'm thinking about other trailers, and I'm thinking about trailers to other remakes. And I'm also thinking about how trailers are constructed. This was constructed well, but it's not the best trailer I've ever seen in my life. So I can't give it a 5 out of 5. But that's just how I'm thinking, because I'm thinking I'm not only thinking as a movie goer, I'm also thinking as film history and that sort of thing, and also the technical side of stuff. So still a decent rating overall. So this is it. We're looking forward to seeing what is going on with Child's Play. You got anything?
Wait. What was the best trailer you've ever seen in your life?
I'll say Endgame.
No, we're not. No,
Fuck out of here.
So, no, I'm not saying that. I have to say these are two of my personal favorites. So I don't know how fair this is, but I would say The Dark Knight, one of them, and then what was the other one? The Departed.
Well, I'm saying like from a logistical standpoint, from what you were talking about, what was the best you ever saw? So you think those are the two best you've ever seen?
The two best that I've seen? Yeah.
Okay.
Me personally.
I don't know.
Of recent movies.
I don't think
I've
I've seen
movies that have come out in the last 10 to 20 years that I've seen.
I don't remember the trailer for The Departed. I don't even remember. Can't even comment on that one.
That's just my take. I mean,
I'm not watching the trailer to see how fucking well done it's done. You know what I mean? I'm watching the trailer to see what the fucking movie's
But you know
about.
how I am. I'm a film nerd. Is how I technically think. So if I see how a trailer is constructed, I'm gonna naturally be like, all right, that's just me. You know what I'm saying?
I got you.
And we gonna talk later because I got beef with you about that Justin Tucker comment. You lost your mind.
I got beef with your boys. Fucking running quarterback. Anyway, let's wrap it up.
Man, listen, I'll get at Jeff about this later, but until then, this has been another edition of Audio Airstrike. You can find these guys constantly in other episodes that I've shared. This is our episode 92. So we want to thank you for always listening through these 92 episodes. We're on our way to a milestone of 100 episodes. So until next time, everybody, we'll see you.